Hey, friends. I would like to know if you can hear me.
If there is someone here with us, please make your presence known.
Give us a sign.
I've brought you a flashing light. Please turn it on if you are here.
Do we sound muddy? Do we sound clear? Hey, Pope Brandon Brownson says, Happy Devil's Night. Gerald says, yes, we can.
Success.
What is Devil's Night? That sounds exciting. Is that
Devil's
the day
Night is
before
the night
Halloween?
before Halloween.
Gary says no, but Gene says yes, and I'm inclined to believe Gene that... Thank you very much, Gary. Well, you know what? It is Mutants and Masterminds Monday. And this is a weekly radio live stream radio program. You know, I did radio for 7 years, and so that's why it's in my brain. But it's all about
Thank
Mutants
you for
and
turning
Masterminds.
into 94.5, the spook.
Yes. You're listening to Bubba Jones and the Farts. You're not, actually. You're listening to me, your disembodied friend, Troy.
Troy,
I'm
were
your
you a
only-
radio jockey?
I was.
That makes sense to me.
You know, not a
A lot of
jockey
things just
is...
fell into place.
Troy has the voice and a disembodied face for radio.
And the
Right.
soundboard.
I do, yeah. But you know, actually, it was I used to do a youth-run radio talk show.
With
But
the
you know,
youths.
I know the youths for my
Yeah.
many years of working at the YMCA.
I'm picturing you as a morning DJ.
It was, you know, I really did have designs on doing radio. I had a lot of designs, but right now I have a design on introducing you two gentlemen, Alex and Steve. Alex, of course, is the line developer for Mutants and Masterminds, and Steve Kenson is the Mutants and MasterDADDY. And I'm your disembodied pal. Hey, do me a favor, friends. As you are checking out the program, today's program, from your wherever you may be, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're on Twitch, or maybe you are on Facebook Live. If wherever you are, give us a like. If there are thumbs, give us those thumbs. If there are, you know, I've heard tell there are stars out there. Whatever there is to give, you give them, and then also share this with a friend. Share it to your timeline. Make sure leave a comment. All of those things help us get right with the algorithm.
Yes.
A creepy thing unto its own, a haunting specter in our lives, in everybody's lives actually. But let me see real quick here. We've got let's see. RC says you're listening to WMNM, all the heroics you can jam pack into 1 hour with traffic on the 10s.
Exactly.
Yes, Gary said, I didn't know you did radio, Troy. I start this Thursday doing the rock show in my town. Great, Gary.
That's
I know
awesome,
that
dude.
Gary has a phenomenal radio voice.
He does.
Absolutely. Let's see. Mastermind Apook says Alex's shorn face never ceases to shock.
Me too.
Talk
Right.
about a youth.
My brain still doesn't recognize it's me when I walk past a mirror.
I say it's making mirrors kind of rough.
Gerald asks if you missed the link, and I will tell you, no, you did not miss the link, and I'll drop it in here in just a bit, so that you may put it, you may subscribe to it and know when we change anything on that beautiful calendar that we made in connection with our chat and planned out the next how many months? I mean, it was almost 4 months, right?
Yeah, I think we went to March, didn't we? We went a long way.
Yeah.
It was quite a long way.
Yeah, because we were talking about Valentine's Day. I think we went all the way to March.
I believe we did.
Yep. Awesome.
Good for
Everybody's saying hello. Hey, chat. You know, today is a day for you to engage and not like every day isn't, but we're designing a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes,
so
indeed.
excited about this. I literally dreamt about this. I had dreams of hauntings. Oh, that's true. Yeah, SC Terran Marine says apparently there's a bylaw in the New England area that the state must have at least one haunted hospital or asylum.
Yes, the New England area definitely produces more hauntings than it can consume locally. So we have to export some of them.
I love it.
That's really generous of you all.
So you two have done a little backgrounding. You've kind of sourced a locale. Well, maybe not a locale, but a spot.
Yes, a concept map, if you will.
Yes, I love it. Let's see. Okay, switch to Twitch. Facebook won't let me minimize and browse while I lurk. Yeah, we like you to be able to listen. You don't have to keep your eyeballs on us.
Absolutely.
So how do we do this?
Troy, did you see Rebel Moose's comment about the giveaway?
I did not. What did Rebel Moose say? Hey, I hate to be that guy, but I sent an email. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I missed you. I did give out all the prizes and there are none left. I'm kidding, Rebel Moose. I must have just missed your email, friend. Make sure you send that in again, and we'll make sure we'll hook you up before the program's over. Apologies for that, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Do we want to share the map so folks can follow along? And
I think we do.
Yeah.
Alex, are you going to share?
I can if you don't want to.
No, I'd love to share. I just don't have it.
Well, then I suppose I will.
If you want to send it my way, we can get it, and you can kind of talk us into sort of what we're doing, and then.
Let me see what it looks like if I share. If it messes up my whole life. Window, Game Master's Guide.
Nice. And so let's see. Lovecraft warned you guys about me in Massachusetts. Stephen King warned you about a Pook in Maine.
Look, there's something going on in New England. Steve's haunted too.
Is. Just saying.
Yeah, Steve is haunted. Well known.
So we are going to be working from one of the maps that we have in the Deluxe Game Master's Guide. We're going to be working from our castle map. We're going to do a haunted castle today. The castle is sort of manor-esque. It's not necessarily a like a fortress on a mountain or anything like that.
Not really a medieval castle, exactly.
Yeah, it definitely has like 1800s manor with a wall vibes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like Disney's Haunted Mansion, but instead of a plantation, it's somewhere in Europe. So yeah, this is our castle, and today we are going to be putting together a haunted house. Encounter is a good word for it, but it's really a location that you can stage encounters in.
Right.
So
yeah.
We're going to come up with the backstory of the haunt, some environmental effects that take place here, and maybe come up with some plot seeds and ways that we can exorcise whatever spirits are lurking in the walls of our castle. So that's sort of our goal today. Anything you want to add, Steve?
No, I think that's exactly the plan, Alex. Can we zoom in on the map a little bit?
That's a big maybe. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Excellent.
Nice.
How close do we want?
It's pretty good.
Okay. Or do you want me to scroll down to where the rooms are?
Yeah, we're probably going to want to look at the individual rooms at some point. All right. So we've got our, sort of Gothic, castle manor, looming on this, cliff face over the coast. It's suitably moody, waves crashing, down below. I'm sure it's, dark and gloomy, the perfect, sort of spooky location on a full moon night. So I think that we need to start off with deciding what is the nature of our haunting, who or what is our ghost.
This is going to be a very niche reference, but this castle actually looks like the hotel from Puppet Master.
Right? Actually, it kind of does.
It's overlooking the ocean and sort of weird and buttressed and never looked like a hotel in my opinion. Just watch.
We got some ideas rolling in, bad ones, but ideas nonetheless. We've got an alien Elvis. We've got
Elvis is alien, so this is an alien that's haunting Elvis.
Right. Elvis. Oh, it belongs. So it's an alien ghost that belongs to Elvis.
Yes.
Oh, okay. A pirate ghost. We've got. Yeah. Sorry about the ads, folks. We don't have the power.
Yes, if only.
Let's see. Thank you, Rebel Moose. Thank you very much. Raymond says, a ghost who animates puppets with built-in weapons to attack those who disturb its rest.
We are most definitely going to talk about animating things, because that's a great opportunity in a space like this one.
Tempo asks, can it be a haunted Japanese village in the style of Fatal Frame where Miko caused a disaster unleashing ghosts after her family killed someone she loved? Maybe later. Well, let's touch on that one another time.
We'd want to try and file off a few of the serial numbers on that. Where we used it, but
I think let's take a look here at what rooms we have and see if we can start coming up with inspiration for what style haunted is. One thing that's drawing my attention specifically, this castle has a torture chamber, a hidden lab, and a ritual chamber in the basement.
Sure.
Gene mentioned something that I think might fit with some of this, and that is ghosts who need fear to boost their power.
Yes, that's an excellent possibility.
Yeah, so clearly this castle was owned by some kind of sadist. Possibly a sadist sorcerer or Victor Frankenstein style mad scientist. Right.
And clearly we've got a bunch of cells, built around the, outer corridor of this, sort of hall of horrors downstairs. So, they had plenty of room for keeping their, prisoners / victims in place. So the thing that grabs me, in addition to that, is that there's a trophy room. And to me, that says that's a great opportunity for, sort of a touchstone for a ghost. Something that if we're going with the notion that our ghost is one or more of the victims of the prior owner of this castle / manor, then the trophy room is a great place where that might they might be connected or held to this place.
Hey guys, one quick second. I just want to. There we go. I forgot to add a little haunted, scary music for the background.
Oh, right.
Yep. Friends in chat, let us know if that competes with your ability to hear what we're talking about. Ooh, spooky.
Steve, do you think it's just one ghost? Do you think something happened here that has made the whole area a frozen moment of what happened to everybody who was trapped here when the disaster struck?
Yeah, I think kind of I like the idea of there being a whole sort of legion of ghosts.
Dominic mentions maybe there's a cult.
I think that's interesting. I was going to suggest the idea that if we're talking about the ghosts of the we're just going to call them the sorcerer, of the sorcerer, of their victims. I'm kind of wondering if it's a whole group of the victims' ghosts.
Yeah.
And that they feel that they are bound to this place. And they are, gathering power through fear, like, Gene's suggestion.
I like that.
But we could add maybe the possible twist that the reason that these ghosts are gathering power through fear is because they are keeping the ghost of the sorcerer imprisoned.
That's what I was thinking. Or the ghost of the sorcerer is keeping them there to prevent them from escaping and getting revenge on everybody, or a descendant of the sorcerer is there.
But
I like the
idea that the victims are sort of. I mean, they're haunting ghosts and they're scary ghosts, but they're kind of unwilling, and they're kind of doing what they feel like they have to do in order to maintain a sort of balance of the forces of evil in this mansion. And there's the possibility of things getting much, much worse, which is always a fun thing as a game master.
Right. What if one of the prisoners was being experimented on in the ritual chamber and the sorcerer was trying to do a ritual to unlock something, but that power was put into the person who and there, as a byproduct of that, the whole house was frozen in the ethereal plane or something like that, and now it sort of phases in between the two dimensions.
Yeah, that's got a lot of potential.
Was the idea of the individual ghosts? Was that to introduce sort of ghostly elements that are different by ghost or tropes by ghost?
Yeah, I would say so.
Very fun. Yeah,
exactly.
Love
Yeah,
that.
especially if you have different haunts, and there's opportunities to have NPCs here who are bound to the place, who you don't have to come up with a reason that they're there.
Right.
There is a thread going on about folks. Esoteric Marine was mentioning haunted armor.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but that could be like one of the. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that gets back to the earlier notion of definitely one of the ghosts' powers or effects or haunts should be that they can animate things.
Yeah.
In the building. And that may range from, like opening and closing the doors and windows, or causing them to slam shut and not open, or things like that, to doing things like animating suits of armor or images out of paintings, or, like animal skeletons in the trophy room or the library, other, sorts of things like, if there's a stuffed, whatever, tiger, in the Victorian style, parlor. They can bring it to life and things like that.
There's another great suggestion that I don't want to miss. The chat, of course, as you can imagine, is on fire. Esoteric Marine says, "Oh, here's a nice twist. There are gargoyles, but they're not evil. They're there to help contain the ghostly evil."
Mm-hmm. Well,
I love gargoyles.
I think that's a good possibility. I think that the key element to think about is basically the whole sort of delicate state that everything's in.
Sure.
If the Ghost Legion is basically trying to keep this evil contained, but they're doing it by being ghostly and haunting and scary and all of that, then it becomes the situation where we insert our heroes into the scenario.
Right. So we kind of already have that space filled.
Right. And it becomes and it becomes a little bit more, and maybe there is some force on the outskirts of the mansion, and this would be a role for gargoyles because they sit on the outer edges of the buildings.
Yeah.
That is keeping everything inside.
Yeah.
And that's why nothing is getting out. But the real key thing is to make sure that there's this, there's a lot at play, so that it's not just, there's a ghost in the house and you have to go in and figure out a way to get rid of it. There's a whole lot going on. And initially the heroes have to figure out, just to start with, that there's more than one ghost. And then not only that, but the ghosts are actually up to something intentional. More than just being scary. Being scary is how they are generating the juice to keep doing the thing that they're doing. But it's more than that. So it adds a little bit more in terms of layers to the heroes' investigations.
How often is there a ghost story where the ghosts are collaborating like this?
Not a lot, but
not a lot, huh?
It happens.
Yeah, it exists out there, but it's. I really want there to be two personalities in play here.
Well, Alex, I like your idea of there being the sort of ringleader among the ghosts who has some kind of special mojo because of what happened to them.
Yeah, this is just one of my favorite things in ghost stories, but I really love when there's a character that the heroes have been interacting with throughout the whole story who they didn't know was a ghost winds up being a ghost.
Oh yeah,
that's an excellent possibility.
They're the ones who lure people into the castle in order to have people to haunt to generate the fear.
Sure.
Oh, I like that.
And that could very much be that character. Is there could be the catalyst that lures the characters in is the supposed victim, who is a ghost themselves.
Is that character like a caretaker or a tour guide or a
groundskeeper was coming to my head. But I also feel like they need to have some sort of relationship with the sorcerer. Like I don't know if maybe the sorcerer had an Igor who led the rebellion that led to everybody getting killed, or
sort of a sibling, or another family member.
Yeah, sibling was coming to mind.
Something like
that. A twin sister,
right? For example.
Yeah, maybe they were the last two set to inherit this place, and the sorcerer locked them away somewhere, and they were able to escape through collaborating with the victims of the sorcerer's madness.
It's a good possibility. It'd be interesting if the sorcerer and this other ghost are identical twins. It introduces the additional complication that they look exactly alike, which is going to cause confusion.
Yeah.
We really want to get twisted into the Jekyll and Hyde situation, and they are the same person.
Just constantly what a fun twist!
With each other's objective.
Sure.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. So would that be? Yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder if it would change what they would do based on whether it's daytime or nighttime in the.
It might.
Castle.
It might, and it even raises the interesting notion, just metaphysically. Does a true split personality like that create more than one ghost?
That's a cool question to answer, I think.
David
Bullock, I do love a 10 Little Indians mystery, but that one of my favorite genres is white people on an island kill each other.
Yeah.
As perfected by Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
The island could be a train, it could be a mansion, it could be a boat in the Nile.
Sure.
But it's white people away killing each other.
Yeah. The challenge with the sort of 10 Little Indians mystery is that you don't want to pick off player characters early in the adventure and then leave the players with nothing to do.
Right.
So you either need a bunch of NPCs to kill off one by one to sort of ramp up the tension, or you need to find something for the, like handing, over responsibility for some of the ghosts to some of the players of the characters who disappear, just so that you're not, they're not just twiddling their thumbs watching the other players do stuff.
What is the, Apuk mentions this, what if all the ghosts are the personalities from a powerful psychic who had dissociative identity disorder? What I'm thinking about those different ghosts, whether they're shards of something or they're this conglomeration of ghosts who are keeping the evil at bay or whatever, what are those individual ghosts? Like, what are the tropes that we would you assign personalities to each one, or would you just sort of say they haunt?
I would at least sketch them out as characters. I don't know if I would go into great depth, and I would probably rely on a certain amount of tropes and stereotypes just for simplicity's sake. But a lot of that is figuring out the time period that the ghosts are from, and whether or not this is, whether or not our sorcerer was like a mad golden age, sort of villain from the 30s and 40s. Was it longer ago, and this was more sort of Gothic Victorian sort of a thing, and that kind of influences the sort of victims or characters you might expect to be in the scenario.
I also like to think about what sort of haunts I want to have happen. So,
right.
If there are ghostly hounds that chase them across the courtyard, is there a caretaker for those dogs who's a ghost? Is there a tarot reader or a psychic that they can interact with to get instruction through the haunted house? It's like that.
David Bullock asks, are they direct opponents or environmental encounters? Are they kind of both?
Yeah, that's something to ask when you're designing the NPCs.
That is absolutely a thing to ask. I would tend to be inclined towards starting with environmental encounters and working towards ways in which the characters can directly encounter or confront the ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah, and that could be it could be locked behind how much fear they generate. So when new people enter in, only the environmental factors are able to manifest, and as the story goes on, more pronounced and more complicated spirits are able to arise.
Right, indeed, and the ghosts may be able to be more visible and interact more directly.
Yeah, there is a ballroom in this. I think there's a ballroom.
Pretty sure there is, isn't there? Yeah, there's a grand foyer, and there's a throne room, which I don't know if that has to necessarily, could be a ballroom.
Yeah, I'd switch that to a ballroom because I love a good dance with
a good ghostly ball. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
I love a dance with the ghost puzzle. I've done that in many adventures.
Yeah,
I love that. Quick question: where did I see it? A kitchen? Would that be like? Could you like have a angry, cook?
Oh,
Yes.
sure, absolutely. That's where you definitely have ghosts flinging knives and cleavers,
Right?
and
banging on pots and pans in the middle of the night and then vanishing.
Flames shooting out of the the hearth, and
Yes,
whip out your bad French accent.
Yeah,
the smell of pot pies cooking when there's none. Yeah.
Ghostly food. Yeah,
I like that.
There's a library too, so there has to be some sort of librarian spirit.
Oh, just so angry about noise.
It's either really helpful or really scary. I feel like those are the two choices with librarian.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't stop thinking about this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, sort of dichotomy, and what would happen, a mechanism that would change the scene or the situation based on whether the sun was up or not. Which is, I mean, I know it's complicated. It's but it's just fascinating me. I can't stop thinking about it.
I would personally pick a different stimulus, just because sunrise and sunset are too predictable and take too long.
I see.
And they're really hard to get to in a game session.
Yeah.
Would it be like a trigger that maybe the players would elicit, or that?
I would tend to try and find something that the characters could both initially elicit by accident,
Gotcha.
and then once they understand it, could also elicit deliberately.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is in Cabin in the Woods when the victims must transgress in order for the haunt to happen. I really like putting that agency in the players' hands.
Yeah, fun. Cool. Let's see. Question: or a comment from SC Terra Marine. There should also be a safe zone for the characters to retreat to, like an old church or chapel.
Yes, ideally that is a good thing to include in an encounter like this. And we can definitely pick, just about anything. I mean, things like the sea tower is an interesting possibility in that regard. Or, we can pick another, particular room or the like that for some reason or another is sort of off limits for the ghosts, and does provide some shelter, some sanctuary for the characters to catch their breath and plan and things like that.
Yeah, I really want that sea tower to be something climactic.
It feels like it should be, right? Yeah,
it feels like it ought to be. And maybe that's where the characters, ironically, you could reverse the notion of the whole torture chamber and hidden lab by making them the safe area, because the ghosts are so traumatized that they just can't go there.
That's true. I like that idea a lot.
And in spite of the fact that they're really creepy because they're like black magic torture chambers, they're actually the safest place for the characters to be,
because the ghosts are too scared to go. That is brilliant.
And it's also
going to be warded against spirits. Like
right.
The sorcerer could have been doing this for a while, and they would know that the spirits would come here and try to prevent what they were doing.
Yeah, and it also works well because they're deep underground, so they don't really present a way to escape. They're safe, but they're also a dead end. So there's really no way to get out that way. But I like the notion of the sea tower being where the bad spirit is imprisoned.
Yeah.
Just that bridge and that multi-story building that just there needs to be a fight there. Like
yeah, I agree. And just the notion that as the encounter progresses, that there's going to be this worsening storm outside. And just wind and rain are lashing the tower, and that sort of thing is just too much to say no to.
Agreed. Yeah.
And we were talking about maybe the house phasing in and out of locations. It could be cool, like when a certain time hits and the haunt begins, the drawbridge raises and the whole manor disappears into this other dimension. And you definitely. The bridge leads to the chasm in that space. You don't want to fall into that sea because it's real bad for you.
Yeah.
Right.
The river Styx.
You definitely want to set some kind of conditions that basically say that the characters can't just leave. You know, like,
right. That's right.
You have to make
like-
solving the problem their problem.
right.
Somebody
right.
did mention earlier, like I believe, oh shoot, it's way back there. Lots of great comments, by the way. But that shouldn't they be trapped in
Yeah,
some?
they absolutely should be.
Yeah.
And even in a superhero scenario, this is this is a one-time thing, but you should definitely at some point in the adventure either make it clear that they're trapped, or if somebody is doing the well, I'll just teleport out of here thing. That's where you say everybody can have a hero point, and no, that
and
doesn't
you're not
work.
going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
John mentions this. Recently read about the sorceress of Zune, a pretty cool Golden Age villainess who kept all the defeated champions and rivals in little too enraged and consumed with hatred. Oh no, that was something. Sorry, it moved. In stone statues in her floating castle. But that just reminded me that having some kind of a statuary or some kind of something.
Yep.
Yeah, that's got to be
statuary is definitely both atmospheric and more stuff for ghosts to animate and things like that. If you want to avoid sort of the gory aspects of things, of having bones or other remains around, you could have maybe whatever it was, this magical ritual that killed these victims did turn them to stone, and their stone statues are still in the building.
Yes.
And that could be suitably creepy, especially the first couple of times characters walk into a room and there's someone standing there, and
with an expression of
an expression of horror on their face, and then they realize, oh, it's a statue. Like,
wow, they really went to a great length to share a really creepy moment in someone's life, and then that being that's great. Yeah.
Casualty CG, don't worry. The final spirit is load bearing. It will destroy the whole house when they leave.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
It's a load bearing villain. Everybody needs a load bearing villain for a horror.
Yeah. Once the villain is either escapes or is defeated permanently, the whole thing just slides into the sea, basically.
Yes. Hey Gerald, I do like your thought here, and that is statuary classic, topiary, environmentally sustainable horror. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we love a greenhouse or a topiary or
an
arboretum.
Good creepy arboretum. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. What is that little bit of looks like might be glass and wood? Is that a yeah?
So that looks like a greenhouse, but
it looks like it's probably some sort of a skylight, or
that's in the throne room, which we changed into the
our ballroom area. But that back space could be a conservatory or an arboretum of some kind.
Yeah, you could cut this half circle off here, make the ballroom this space, and make
have one of those
a garden or something that people can hang out in.
Exactly. Exactly. Have one of those little sort of wrought iron sort of greenhouses out behind it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The classic. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of House on Haunted Hill vibes.
I am too. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I love that. I love both versions of that movie, which I know is probably a controversial thing to say, but.
And a lot of what we're talking about, to me, suggests that we're looking at definitely sort of a turn of the century sort of vibe of late 19th, maybe very early 20th century time period for the ghosts and their backstory as far as that goes. It's very elegant and balls and soirees and
Gilded Age.
Very Gilded Age, as far as that goes.
So in the context of this castle, what is it called the livery? The livery?
The library.
Is it library, not livery?
Oh, the livery, yes.
Livery.
Livery. Is that a thing? Yeah. Is that?
I think Troy, they call it a library, but no.
What do they call the library? But is that like a place to store horses, or is it?
It's probably tack and harness and other sorts of things for horses and for carriage and the like. Got you.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I love sort of Gene Cron's idea of like a spooky Downton Abbey, like 1910 Downton Abbey.
I do like that too.
Very.
Because then you can also play with the wealthy versus the poor.
Sort of the upstairs, downstairs
aspects
of it.
all the characters like the head of household or whatever they called
a scary butler, like
yes,
who, like marshals the ghosts on behalf of the sorcerer. I think is a cool lieutenant villain that they have to face.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see. Tempo says maybe there's some ghosts like the Miko that can be appeased in ways that either peacefully send it back to the afterlife or even help the players against the enemies. Oh, that's an interesting idea.
I think there should be states for easing some of the spirits or convincing some of the spirits to assist you in dealing with the sorcerer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's almost like that classic superhero trope where two superhero teams meet each other and they fight, but then they realize
exactly
they're
like
the same people. Like
that's right.
But with the ghosts, they're trying to scare the heroes, and the heroes are like, "Wait, we can help you. We want to help you."
Right.
This Claude says more like downright haunted Abbey. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
But
you are right.
I think there should definitely be a conversation where the heroes are trying to help the ghosts, and there are definitely the ghosts are very divided on that. Some really want to believe these heroes can help them and want to try and find a way out of their sort of eternal conundrum, but others are just like, we can't risk that, that we can't take that chance.
I love the irony of a ghost skeptic who's like, I don't believe in the living.
Right.
I
don't believe that they can help us.
That is great, Alex. Yeah. I love that. Let's see. Simon says, I can imagine the encounter also being a closed circle. You can't leave the closed circle area or contact the outside world until you solve all the mysteries. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And again, it fits with the overall theme that we're looking at, that the ghosts are containing something. That you've basically walked into a prison that there's no way out of, and that's by design because the ghosts are trying to keep something prisoner.
That also plays into the upstairs downstairs thing, where the downstairs people are still beholden to the upstairs people
forever.
Ooh, right. Yeah, that's a very interesting thread to kind of weave through that. I think it adds a little some richness to the story. And there's another. This is interesting, just as a concept. David Bullock mentions run this as two tables. One team is the ghosts trying to solve, and the other. Yeah, I love that.
And I would be very much inclined to play or include the sort of smart downstairs servant who has been the one who has been looking through the books in the library and has been studying this whole thing for however long this has been going on.
Yeah.
And they're the one who has sort of an inkling of like how they might be able to fix this. Like I've been studying the sorcerer's stuff and kind of keeping an eye on things, and I think I've got this figured out, but the aristocrats in the house won't listen to them.
Right.
Yes. Because what do they know? Clearly what we need to do, what is needed for this is for us to carry on.
Yes.
Bravely, as we must.
Right. We've got the plan.
We have to grin and bear it. We're British.
That's right. That's right. And I do love how they wouldn't listen to that other character who just went to go educate themselves, but the upper class thinks they're too low class to really. Right. They don't. We made a mistake letting him have access to.
You're a mere scullery maid.
That's right.
Right.
I love that. Let's see.
I think that ghost is probably the first one who makes contact with the heroes once there's enough energy for that spirit to manifest.
Simon's got another sort of clamp on the why you can't use your cell phone, and that would be ghostly activity messing with. Yeah.
It always does.
There's
never any bars.
Solves that whole cell phone, saving the day and cutting the whole thing in half.
Yep.
Since this villain is a Golden Age sorcerer, maybe is it Thule or Thule? Thule Society, mage, so undead Nazis. Okay.
S.E. Marine, I admire your dedication to killing undead Nazis, but they don't have to be in every adventure.
That's fair.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Reading Aid. Can't wait for you to check out. We're launching our Thursdays with a new format, and that'll be this Thursday. It's going to be great. You're going to want to check it out. We'll have somebody whom I don't think you've ever heard from before, unless you've met them in person. So yeah, that'll be fun.
That I see what you did there, Claude.
Yeah.
Even if the cell phone did work, who you gonna call?
The Winchester Brothers.
right?
That's right.
So,
Those
Alex,
Spectre pals.
the other thing I wanted to talk about is then we've got this. So now we've got this high concept, basically,
Yes.
and a lot of options for building things and things like that. For me, as a game master, this is where I would start sort of tailoring things to my group of player characters. And I'd start thinking about, so what are their abilities and interests and fears and things like that, and how would they fit into this adventure in terms of what they're going to be able to do, what they're not going to be able to do, where they're going to need maybe some help, or in the case of, like, I'm thinking of some of your characters. What do I do about the character who controls ghosts?
Oh yeah.
When he walks into this scenario.
I run this game when Jonesy's not there.
That's why Jonesy was expressing a little dismay that you were designing ghosts.
It is absolutely valid to take the Marvel Universe approach of Doctor Strange gets hit in the head with a rock.
Yeah, but that's not really fun for Jonesy. But especially a character who has the ability to communicate and control spirits. I think it becomes a situation where it is that energy is so readily available that it's overwhelming.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
Yeah, you give them a hero point and you say your powers are sort of unreliable during the time that you're spent here in this castle, because the soul vault is it's eager to eat as many ghosts as possible and it gets full or something like that.
Could there be also just a ghost that is set up to be the trap, like the sort of like, try to control this, you've got to control this ghost, and then when they do, they're somehow nullified or something? I'm just thinking about like different ways that the individual ghosts can kind of take a little role. Yeah,
well, this sorcerer, in a way to gamify it a little bit and to be able to pull player characters into it, I think the sorcerer, one of the things the sorcerer was studying was fear specifically, and that's why they're able to manifest the personalized fear of some of the player characters. That way you don't have to have a specific ghost that's tied to their terror. You can design something that the sorcerer is manifesting that's specific
I love
for
that.
them.
Yeah, indeed.
That way you don't have to have, it turns out one of the servants in this mansion was really just excited about spiders. You don't have to come up with a backstory for that if one of your characters has arachnophobia or
Gary brings up also.
Phobia.
Oh yeah. Gary brings up the idea of there being diaries and notes, ghost notes, and things.
Absolutely. Libraries and people's quarters and things like that are ripe for that opportunity.
Yeah, there's a ton of handouts for this adventure.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
And you could do fun stuff like age paper and burn stuff and make.
Oh yeah.
I would go very all out for this kind of.
And just like SC Terra Marine points out, there's a ton of opportunities to include potentially useful weapons or tools. Where it may be salt from the kitchen or wrought iron from the garden or a particular plant that's still growing there, or religious relics from people's rooms, or even just photos and mementos that are going to allow the characters to connect with the ghosts in some way.
Oh, I like that.
There's all kinds of little sort of treasure hunts that can go on in that kind of scenario.
If you're doing research on fear and how to elicit more fear out of people, what does the lab look like? Like, what kind of instruments and things would you find in a laboratory meant to, farm fear?
I think I would consolidate. I think I would keep it simple. I think there would be some kind of device that is worn on the subject's head that crystallizes the energy of what they're seeing, and you can store that crystal somewhere, and you can watch people's fears almost like a video situation, rather than having like, this is my collection of spiders and snakes, and here's my bat, Iron Maiden, and just
automatically gets so complicated, right?
It's some kind of magic thing that you put on their head, and then it subjects them to their worst fear, and you record the information. I think that's probably the simplest way to go about it.
More of an internal sort of a situation than
and that could also be something that the players are brave enough to put it on. It could provide context or clues if they succeed at the challenge of withstanding this device.
Oh, what would that challenge be?
It'd be a series of probably will resistance checks.
Yeah, a series of
Nice.
checks.
Yeah.
You know, with the appropriate abilities as far as that goes.
Yeah, and again, make sure you get consent from your players and warn them about content. And
yes, of course.
Yeah.
And I like to get players in on it. I like to ask them, what is your character afraid of? You know, what is a terrifying scene that you would like your character to go through? Or if you're not comfortable with me coming up with something that you don't know about, will you write a scene that you can narrate to the rest of the players?
Right.
Great opportunity for people to show off their RP skills and character building. I like that a lot.
I wanted to mention Casualty mentioned something about undead neo-Nazis, and that's basically the high concept for Nightfire in the current edition of Freedom City. So, who is basically an undead neo-Nazi. So, if that's a kind of villain you want to fight in your Mutants Masterminds game, check that book out because he is a despicable villain.
Yeah. There's something else you could do if you have the trust of your players and you wanted to tell a really interesting story. If they go there to investigate this mansion and they fall asleep there, maybe they wake up in the time that the disaster happened in the bodies of some of the
yeah. You have a great
That's how the ghosts are showing it. And then it's a flashback through gameplay rather than explaining the
fun. Yes. I like that a lot.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, is that something that is it when they fall asleep or also when they pass out or if they're knocked unconscious or...
I'd want them to be all there together. So I think it'd be a situation where they all choose to go to bed or they...
Excellent. Okay.
Or they're all knocked out, like the sorcerer floods an area with gas and they get a hero point and they go to bed.
Yep.
Gotcha. Badass Rocket says Dreamlands.
Yeah, I do like the Dreamlands.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Gerald says, wear the helmet, get a clue, but release a new scary thing. Oh, wow.
That's a cool
Interesting. Do you get the clue and face the thing or try to solve it without releasing all the bad scary things? That's a clever, little clever mechanism to amp up the,
I like mechanisms that give the players choices, you know, as far as that goes, where their decisions have real meaning.
Yeah.
Really I also love environments that give temporary complications.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe if you wear the helmet, you're more susceptible to the fear and you take a penalty.
Yeah.
You suffer a circumstance penalty. I almost said the other thing that's coming up. You take a circumstance penalty to your will resistance checks.
I love that.
Yes.
So Gene asks about ideas for ghosts, and we've kind of peppered them throughout the discussion. As we're kind of getting into the last quarter of the show, do we want to get into that?
Yeah, I think we could talk about some of the spirits that are here.
Sure.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the master butler or the butler lord.
Yeah.
The sort of the first line of defense for the sorcerer, and who
also like that plucky scullery maid too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like them being in opposition with one another. Like that ghost is the prime target of the butler every time he manifests.
Right.
Yeah, because he's just irritated that she's not, staying in her
place,
in her lane. Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that also makes it so that all of the spirits aren't just dogpiling the heroes when they walk in. Like they have another objective, and that gives them the ghosts are looking for something. We should probably look and see what they're looking for.
See what it is. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, anything that lets your encounters drive plot is always good. It's always good design.
Yes, now, did we talk about a seer or a mystic or some? I see some woman with a crystal ball or something. Was that?
I mentioned a fortune teller that you might be able to get information from, but I think that might be wrapped into the ghost who's been studying everything. I think they take that role.
Sure, that takes care of that role.
Because they're providing information. They, if you find them, that's going to make your life here in the castle much easier.
Yeah, indeed. I think that we could definitely look at the sort of either sort of groundskeeper or the sort of master of the hunt, master of the hounds, sort of character.
Yes, master of the swans.
Master of the
Hey,
Swans.
swans.
We'll do a twist on that, and it's a bunch of ghost swans, which is way scarier.
Which is way
Way
scarier.
scarier.
Swans are vicious beasts.
Now, esoteric and marine, they really are. They're just, they're nasty. Esoteric and marine says poltergeist, but the idea here is that we're introducing the characters, and they do poltergeisty things, right?
I think poltergeists are a tool that these high concept ghosts are able to employ.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes. That makes sense. Yeah, I was on your same page, esoteric and marine, and then it clicked for me that they're kind of all the ghosts and various, or all the manifestations of ghostery.
Yes.
Hey, real quick, friends, do you love Mutants Masterminds Monday? Do you like hanging out and having a chat with your friends about superheroes and superhero-like things and villains and all the kind of shenanigans that we get into, including Gravy Squatch? You can help keep us vibrant by giving us a like, making sure that you're subscribed, and you can also share it with a friend, share it with your mom. Tell people far and wide. You know, I hear tell there's a Reddit out there somewhere where people are talking about heroes. Wherever there are discussions about TTRPGs and heroes, drop a link to our program. I think we've got a lot of great back episodes that cover just about pretty much anything that you could hope to find, and also we're always open to more ideas. And we've got our schedule that we've done, but each show is just a moment to really collaborate and talk with our fans. And the more people that listen and then watch and connect, the better. And the more you share and the more you like and the more you comment, the more that the algorithm does our work for us and brings in folks that would like this. So do please leave a good comment, like, subscribe, and share, and the rest will take care of itself. But thank you so much, friends, and let's return back to our topic.
Yeah, I like Janata. You have a lot of really good ideas here.
Real solid ideas.
Yeah. That's a whole other scenario that I think would be really interesting to explore.
And there's no reason you can't take the house that we're building and put your own twist on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
RC
says, I can't stand these shenanigans. I show up every week because I'm a masochist.
We know.
You know, RC. We did talk about a librarian ghost. I think that's a fun opportunity.
Oh, yes.
And especially if there is somebody sneaking into the library to steal information, I think that paints the librarian as an antagonist for the heroes.
Right. Potentially.
I like that.
They're a guard for the library at that point, in my opinion.
Not necessarily a helper in that regard.
Right.
Kitchen staff, is there a chef or a
cook?
Yeah.
I want a really angry French cook who's just
absolutely. Yeah. Sacre bleu. Let's see. I'm reading some of our stuff.
There's a conservatory, and a ballroom, so there is an opportunity for us to have some kind of musician spirit if we want.
Sure, potentially. Or, ghostly animated musical instruments that play themselves.
I
like the idea that maybe the sorcerer had some kind of artist that they kept in-house who maybe that was somebody that they were connected to who was able to help bring them back from the madness of the fear.
Ooh, I like that.
And this person died, and that was sort of the catalyst of what happened.
There you go, Troy. There's the trigger we were talking about.
There it
earlier,
is.
Is music.
That. Yes, yeah.
Music hath charms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
And if there's a connection between the sorcerer and this musician, that could definitely be, maybe there's some kind of device that plays music in the house every now and then, and that changes the sorcerer's manifestation.
I sure like it. Oh, I like it. Yeah. Hey, so did we establish
also,
a
that
greenhouse?
makes the left brain, right brain thing happen, which I always like.
Yeah, which is kind of fun.
I like that too. Sorry, I had a quick question about. I'm thinking of a groundskeeper or who tends a greenhouse. What is that job?
Gardener. It's still a gardener.
Okay,
usually,
gardener. Yeah, sure.
Picturing a gardener who's just like going through and pulling weeds, and they're all just like shrunken heads or screaming spirits,
right?
Or little fears that aren't ripe yet, and they're not ready for prime time.
I love that. That also could be very a magical theremin.
Or if you beat the gardener and you find these little fears, maybe you can take the little fears and melt them down into some kind of potion you could take that makes it easier for you to succeed on fear saves or something like that.
I love that. Or you
One
can
thing
make
that's
a
hard in
fear
that
gas.
scenario is the fearless advantage. That's something to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you could end up with an interesting situation if the ghosts are mining fear. That the fearless character gets sort of targeted, in the sense that they're essentially useless. Like you're no help to us, so we're gonna do terrible things to you to make everybody else scared.
Right. Yeah. And in the process, maybe get rid of you.
Because honestly, we can afford to kill you. If it comes to that.
That's right. That's
the
right.
robot character or the alien character or somebody who just
right. Yes.
They don't feel like regular people do.
Right. And that's honestly where it plays right up into the classic comic book trope of, honestly, it's always the robot who gets dismembered or, their head cut off. Or,
they push Kid Robot down the stairs.
Well, listen, friends. Hey, listen. We are mere minutes away. Alex, you have a hard stop today.
I do, unfortunately.
Yeah. But and that's all right because you're off to the show must go on. You're off to be the
you get
character
to play Polo tonight, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes, I love that. And
I get to go make my problem everybody's problem. It's gonna be good.
I love it.
Well, that's what the theater is for.
Right.
Alex, just real quick to kind of front load anything. Do you have anything you want to share about this week? Or anything coming up that's exciting?
In a couple of weeks, I'll be at UConn in Michigan.
Yay!
Where I will be. I'm one of the guests of honor there, so I will be there talking about Mutants Masterminds alongside some other Green Ronin alumni, Matt Forbeck and Tanya DePasa, and
is Nicole
the guy who I like, who I haven't met yet, whose work is awesome, and I forget his name. Rob Schaub, that's it. Yes.
Oh yeah, he's great.
The Demon Lord himself.
Yes,
Demon Lord himself. So we'll all be there. I'll be running a bunch of Mutants and Masterminds. I think I've got 6 events on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 events on the schedule. 4 to 6. I'll double check. I've got a lot of them, but come up and play.
Somewhere between 4 and 20. Yeah, right. Exactly. Awesome. All right, Alex. I just wanted to make sure you had that out. Anything you want to kind of share before about this haunting that?
Just when you're designing a haunt, I think theme and high concept is the most important thing to come up with, and then you start filling in the details and making this to your players, like we did today.
Yeah.
You pick a setting, you figure out what happened there, and then you figure out what comment you want to make with this spirit. Because ultimately, this is a person who has unfinished business, and what is bothering them has left such a stain on the universe that they are still here.
Yes.
So whatever concept you are talking about, you want to make sure that it is, it's heavy enough that they are stuck here. And it's your chance to make a comment to your players. If you have something that you want to talk about, like upstairs, downstairs, or rich versus poor, or anything of the sort like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Awesome. And now, if you want to head out now, you can do that, and we can kind of tie it up on the stream rather than just going to shut it up. But I thank you, Alex, for everything, and break a leg.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Great one, Alex.
I will see you all next week.
Bye. Awesome. Let's get... There we go. All right. Well, Steve, so knowing that there are still some loose ends, quite a few, what would you do at this point to sort of kind of rein things in, and what work do you see that is left to do?
Primarily, it's about figuring out some specific challenges or encounters for the characters, and a lot of it is really based heavily on what kind of characters you're expecting or working with.
Gotcha.
But provide some clear beats to the story of how the characters are going to get involved, what their initial encounters are going to be like, what their challenges they need to overcome are, and how they're getting towards the intended climax of the adventure and the final sort of last big encounter.
Got you. Yeah, in Critical, that's the big show.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, I think we talked about kind of putting some of the information together and providing this to the Patreon. there's clearly some work, and we'll touch base with Alex to kind of figure out those details. What's going on in your world? Anything you want to share about what's coming up this week?
Well, tomorrow afternoon, speaking of music, I am going to be doing a listening party stream with our friends from Handelabra.
Oh, yes, awesome. Okay,
where they are going to be playing all of the music from the Sentinels of Earth Prime online game.
That's right.
With accompanying videos, and we're going to talk a little bit about basically how the music got composed and how the different characters and environments inspired some of the different musical pieces and things like that. So it should be a really interesting stream. It was a fun process working with Jean-Marc, who is the composer over at Handelabra, to come up with the different sort of musical motifs for the Earth Prime characters and settings. So it should be fun.
Right. Yeah, we've also got another event going on, and that is the launch video or the launch live stream that they'll be hosting. And both of those, both the listening party and the launch, are going to be broadcasting to our channel as well.
Yes, indeed.
And so, folks, so you can check that out. First, I want to drop this calendar link. Make sure you go head over to that calendar and sign up, because you get updates on what's going on with
cool stuff we're doing.
That's right. And then if you are curious about what's going on with Handelabra tomorrow, these are the links to their respective events. And really stoked that they'll be the listening party idea is brilliant. I think that's such a smart, fun event. And so check those out. Make sure you head on over there. And before those events start, giving the thumbs up is wonderful. Like, it really does help a great deal in getting the information out there to the world. That is the same link. Sorry about that, friends. So that's that. Everybody, thank you for hanging out. Have a wonderful, safe, and fun Halloween. And we'll see you in November, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you soon.
It's my favorite month, my favorite gravy month. All right, friends. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.